Okay, so we're continuing our video on the agent workspace with AWS Connect in this video. And so last video we looked at Amazon Q, we set it up, and now we're going to look at setting up customer profiles. So I'm logged in as my root account user, and I'm in my Amazon Connect site area. I'm looking at my instances here, and I've actually clicked on one of the instances. I'm in the home task dash 2025 domain space. This is my Amazon contact center instance URL, and now I want to set up customer profiles. If I click on customer profiles, what I see is I have a domain. Um, and basically, as soon as you uh, create a domain, what you do is you actually create a data source and you connect it to Salesforce. So here's the thing that I want you to understand: when you create a domain uh, for the customer profiles, it creates this by default. It creates this data source integration. This actually uh, creates an AppFlow instance, um, and we'll show you that, which uses a certain connection which connects to Salesforce. And when I add a data source called Salesforce, it basically uh, connects to the Salesforce instance, and it is used to pull the user profile when the customer calls in. So, let me show you a little bit. Let me first show you. Go back here. Let's see if this works. Let's go back to. Um, Let me click on this access URL, and right now I'm in logged in as John Doe. And let me look up the agent workspace. Okay, and I previously called in. So let me call in again. Let me call again and just see how this behaves. Sales support, press 1. For technical support, press 2. I'm going to press 2. Thank you for calling the technical support agent. Your call is very important to us. Order it with receipt. Now notice I'm going to accept the call here. And let me mute it for the moment. And so let's look at Steve on the country contact. What I'm going to do is I'm going to associate this contact with this phone number. So at this point now, the agent is looking at the contact information. Now, the last call that I called in, the agent created a case of me, and here's the case information. So what has happened is this is my contact information from Salesforce, and and I've got the case information. So at this point, the agent is looking at the case information, the user profile information, case information, and he can if the customer's asking for something, um, uh, the agent could be asking Amazon Q certain information, and he could be getting the sources and and pulling up documents. And so here I have the user profile information. Here I have the case information. And here I could have some other information. I just labeled this case any way I wanted to, so it's just showing this way. So this is how the agent workspace is supposed to work. And now um, let me show you a little bit more about how I pull this profile, because I've seen a couple of demos where this happened quite kind of smoothly. I don't know how old those demos are. Now let me show you what I did. Okay, so I'm going to get out of here for the moment. Let me leave this and let me go back to, let's see, the account overview, and let me log in. Let me log out of here and log in as my administrator user. Mm. Now this is the administrative user of my contact center. And what I'm doing is now I'm in the position to look at my workflows. So the only administrator has access to all these things. An agent should only have access to the contact control panel, etc. But let's go back over here and take a look at this. And let me just go look at flows. Let me show you what I did. So in my home task flow, my main flow, what I did was, when the caller calls in, I log, I record, and then there's some input, and basically, I say press one for sales, press two for technical support. Well, with technical support, in that route for pressing two in technical support, what I do is I go and I drop and drag this customer profile block, and I go and get the profile. Now let me show you what I did here. I basically I matched the identifier of the phone, because when I call in, I could pull the profile by phone or other attributes, and so I'm basically doing it by phone. So basically, that's what I did, and what I did was I on success I go back to uh, transferring to the queue. So before we transfer to the queue, my profile for the customer is retrieved. Now that's not the case with sales. When I press one, I go to sales. I don't pull the profile for the user, um, and so when I get transferred to the queue, you'll see a different behavior. And as a matter of fact, what I'm probably going to do is go back and make this sales block go into this get profile as well. So if the sales representative picks up from their queue, the sales queue, then the profile would appear there as well. So so then I saved and I publish. So it's only this second press two where I go into technical support agent, where I go and get the profile, and that's why I press two, to show you that the profile is getting retrieved. Now there's a lot of confusion with if you don't get the profile, what happens? Well, the profile will get created, and you could then edit the profile to find a name and stuff, and you could work exclusively within Amazon Connect. And so there is a case where where I was getting duplicate profiles, and so what I did was I had to go here and use AWS CLI and delete the profile because I kept switching configurations, etc. So there is some AWS CLI stuff that I had to do because you might not see what you need in the console. Um, so this is really all I wanted to show with this is the ability to pull a profile and the agent workspace showing the integration with Salesforce. Now now let me show you my Salesforce because I did a lot of playing around with Salesforce just to see what happens. And so I have a couple of profiles. I have a couple of profiles, and they have different phone numbers. And these two, I was deleting some of these users. I was adding them back and switching phone numbers. And so yeah, at one point in time, yeah, I had Steve and Billy Gibbs pulled because the phone numbers are the same. But once I did an association to Steve, only Steve was getting pulled. So um, it's interesting. It's interesting. There's still a lot of work to do and understand what's going on. But I'm just scratching the surface of what needs to be done. This is a um, this is a this is a trial version of Salesforce that I have, and I just added a couple of contacts. And you know, you could use accounts. Let me show you accounts. I got two company accounts in here, and and you could map to the accounts object or the contacts object, etc. So I'm far from an expert of self in Salesforce integrating with Amazon. And let me just, but I did manage to get some things work, and then I'm breaking things, and I'm working on reconfiguring. But I do want to show you something else which I thought was interesting. So I saved and I published this, and then I was using that block to get the profile. And I might imagine that you can get the profile block. You could take the profile and do whatever you want with it in these workflows. But let me show you one more thing. Let me copy this, and I just want to show you App Flow. Now, I did have quite a bit of problem getting some of this stuff working, only because I was doing a whole bunch of different things. But here's a test flow. This has nothing to do with my Amazon Connect. And what I did with this thing is I created a flow to to run manually, um, to run manually, and what I do with this particular flow is I dump it to an S3 bucket. So I'm pulling the Salesforce records with this test flow. When I run this thing manually, I'm getting the latest records from Salesforce, and 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 this is how I tested my connection. So I use this home task connection, and the records wind up going to the S3 bucket. See, if I go to this bucket, download a file and I could see the records. So at a particular point in time, now notice that this is an older set of records because I don't have Billy in here. So I must have grabbed the wrong one. So let me go back and find the latest one. Why am I having a problem with this? Let me go to the last one. Oh, this is February 20th. Let me go up to, let me just see what's in here. Yeah, so I had done this a couple of times before. Let me just go and find which, did my flow run? Okay, so yeah, let me go back to the flow. Um, and what I could do i- with the flow, is I could look at the run history. In the run history, what you'll see is data that's transferred from Salesforce to my S3 bucket. So I did 2 transfers today. Let me think about this. This is 5 BF, yeah. So it is true that these are the latest records because you don't see the first name. I didn't map. I didn't pull the first and last name. And if you go back to Salesforce, what you'll see is my contact here, Billy Gibbs, has the same email. See, I could change this email to bgibbs@gmail.com. And what you'll see now is that when I um when I pull the records, 'you'll see the new email address show up uh, in the bucket. So yes, what I have to do here is, let's say, look at the run history, and I see this one is 5BA, 5BA. So I go to the bucket and I look at the objects. Let me just refresh the bucket. 5BA, this folder, download this one. Okay, and now you see the new email. Okay, so this was a little bit, I went a little bit off tangent, but what I wanted to do is show you how I made sure my test connection worked with Salesforce. So with AppFlow, you can, in this case here, I created a manual run, a manual flow, where I basically took the home task connection to Salesforce that I created, and I pumped the data to the S3 bucket. And manually, I could do that, or I could schedule, I could do, or I could select another connection if I wanted to. So this actually convinced me that my new files will go into my bucket. So my connection's working to Salesforce to my bucket. So now what I was doing was I was looking at this connection. This connection was created um, when I created the the customer profiles. This was automatically created when I told it I wanted to pull the contact records from Salesforce. So if you look at this, I also used the same connection. And I was saying to myself, here's my domain for my customer profiles. Here's my connection. I know that connection's working because what happens is I think it uses Auth0. So when I'm logged into when I make the connection and created the connection, it makes you log into Salesforce. And once it's logged into Salesforce, then that connection is pulling records. So so now the thing is what I didn't do, um, what I didn't do was I didn't really define. Maybe I did. I don't remember defining that. This thing is pulling changes every 5 minutes. So you'll see zero records. You'll see these records not changed, and all of a sudden you'll see a pull change. So this is 20:55. This is 5 minutes later. So after I pull the records, if you wait 5 minutes, if after I change the records in Salesforce and wait 5 minutes, you'll see they'll get pulled again. So this is my customer profile flow. And so keep in mind that you should keep an eye on this um, to 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 make sure that your Salesforce records are pumping into the right place. Now I must tell you that with the Salesforce contact records that are coming in, there there is an option for me to configure and them to go to a bucket. So so this was just a happy accident that I had this working already before I did the Amazon Connect customer profile activation, and it did take me a while to get this to work, and I tried many things. Um, so keep in mind, um, if you know what you're doing and you get it to work, fine. But it's there's a lot of caveats. The other thing I guess I should show you is this approved origins. Now nothing was really in this approved origins, even though I've configured it to integrate with Salesforce. And I believe I added this URL, and I don't think it really made much of a difference because after I added it, it still wasn't really working for me. So to make a long story short, the confusing thing, this could work instantly, or it might not. But the confusing thing to me is the mappings and what you're trying to do and what's internal to Amazon Connect and what's internal to Salesforce, and make sure that you're not getting duplicate records and you're not um, and you're having your profile, your phone number uh, pull the proper user profile, and that user profile attributes from multiple, let's say, data sources are merged together. Because basically what we're dealing with, basically what we're dealing with here is contact trace records coming in, and you got Salesforce records in Salesforce. And so if you look at the contact trace records, there's a certain set of attributes. Phone number is not there. If you look at least I couldn't find it in my contact trace record. So that's that. We're going to follow up this video with the proper mapping mechanisms, and a full deep dive into this, um, because this domain name was defined. The key, you could use any key you want, but I created my own key for this. What did I call it? I think I called it CRM, my key, CRM key or whatever. And I didn't use this identity resolution. I just created and I just created an additional data source here. So these are the contact records. This is the records coming from Salesforce. And somehow, when the user calls in, you want to show profile, and you have certain ways to to define your user profile by doing some sort of mapping, which needless to say, I want to minimize the work, but I want to know what I'm doing. So uh, there is something here. I created this map. Now this is inactive. I don't know how to remove this, but I went and configured a different type of map.